You know when you get those days whereby you've got big fluffy clouds in the sky, and when they pass in front of the sun, it gets pretty cold. And then when they're not in front of the sun, you're sweating, even without a shirt on. Well, it's one of those days. And I think, to be fair, these sort of days epitomises British weather, because it's not really often warm enough where you can still be really warm when you've got cloud cover. And so it's just something that we have to accept, don't we? Or we move. And so I think it won't be too long before I'll be moving back down to the Algarve again, back down to that beautiful coastline where every day throughout the year is moderate temperate weather, and when it gets unbearably hot in July and August, then that's time to just head a little bit further north in the same country to get back to the moderate weather again. Some of you remember I did that and I had wonderful times. So I'm continuing reading the chapter subheadings, and this is on page 177 now. So there's 725 pages, yeah. So how psychedelics, aka entheogens, changed my worldview. The first significant introduction to the mystical world of entheogens. Flat world. Life forms in paving stones. Experiencing a soul in purgatory. Pumping iron on 3 grams of magic mushrooms. How do these entheogens know us so well? How can they talk to us and tell us about what's going on in our unconscious minds, which under normal circumstances our egos bury? It's literally like a god figure. It's like a godhead within us. We try all of our lives to bury all the stuff that we don't like about ourselves. We repress it and we deny it. But then when we take entheogens, something shines a light on it and says to the ego, "Oi, what about all this shit you've been burying?" And the ego's like, "Oh, what shit?" "Yeah, that shit, you know what shit." "Oh yeah, well, I've been, thinking about getting round to looking at that." "Yeah, well today's the fucking day, mate." "Okay then." And so and so the ego gets its fucking ass kicked. That's the beauty of entheogens. And if you're one of these sort of people that don't like a good fucking moral kicking, a good talking to, a good dressing down, then don't be taking entheogens, mate. That's what I'll tell you. Because that shit's coming down on you. And it's like the mushroom gods drop a file as thick as fuck, about that thick, in your lap. And it's like, see all that shit there? And on the front of it, it's got file of shit. Author, Aaron Berry. It's like, fuck, I'm gonna get through all that fucking shit. Yeah, well, some of these entheogen trips, they last, 6, 10 hours. You get through quite a lot in that sort of time, people. Oh my God, there's just so much, and I can't even keep going on about what's in it. I really can't. It's just too much. Just too much. Chapter 14, How to Know God. Our shifting perception is the central vein of spiritually awakening. You have to shift your mental paradigm, otherwise you will never know God. The height of human evolution. Not only how to know God, but discovering that we are God. Why does God make it so difficult for us to enter his kingdom? The power of giving penance or confession. Does prayer really work? How does God answer our prayers? How synchronicity plays its hand and why it is so important to be aware of its potential. The power of meaningful coincidences. How the book of Zen Buddhism found its way to me in a miraculous, enchanting, synchronistic manner. The benefits of believing in God. Investigating the supernatural. Divine revelation versus various other paranormal theories. What is the difference between elusive and elusive? Who the fuck is God anyway? What the fuck is consciousness anyway? Where do we look for truth? Let me illustrate what my issue is with finding truth in language. Where is the human essence? Disturbing as it may be for some, this whole construct is premised on faith. A giant leap of faith. René Descartes' Meditations on First Philosophy. What happened in my mind during this mini investigation into the concept of faith? Our whole lives are one giant leap of faith. There is only God. Everything is you, and it's all beautiful. What did I conclude about how others saw God from my investigation into faith? The other side of faith. Embracing faith as an experiment. What prevents us from entering God's kingdom? Religions are the world's first self-help books, premised on human psychology. Being born again with DMT. Heaven is a state of mind. The psychology of experiencing God. Religious scriptures are the world's first attempts at cognitive behavioral therapy. The kingdom of God is within us all. Heaven and hell, right thinking and wrong thinking. How faith works its magic. Self-hypnosis, creating our reality via our thoughts and intentions. To judge or not to judge, that is the question. The Akashic records are said to be. Here I list several well-discussed points of possible contention and explanation concerning what Jesus said and was misunderstood as saying. How my epiphany on judgment came about. There are two sides to every coin. It all simmers down to perspective at the end of the day. Being judgmental premised on our delusion of separateness. How do we break free from our self-imposed tyranny and create heaven within? Letting go of things that we know do not serve us. Attracting gremlin, negative vampiric energies. My duel with the devil himself. A battle of love over fear, good over evil, light over darkness. That was a very powerful chapter. The slaying of the beast. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. Is the world or universe cosmos perfect? The miracle of waking up. Humanity must be profoundly disappointing to the cosmic creator. Is God an amateur at the creation game? The DMT God told me that the world is perfect. Is God a chemical produced in our brains? Putting the pieces together. So is the world perfect, or is it just a perspective that some of us more fortunate and adventurous people have? Heaven and hell are simply states of mind. What we put into our minds is what we can expect to get out. Left brain, hell. Right brain, heaven. The divine peace of God vacates our minds and hearts when we invite in destructive, negative energies. One more page. When the carnal essence metaphorically dies and only the spiritual remains, from caterpillar to butterfly, the spiritual metamorphosis, being here, now. Is intuition our portal to communicate with God? When our light is switched on, the esoteric versus the esoteric, communicating with the supernatural cosmos via our sixth sense. The crucifixion is symbolic of the death of the ego. The Four Horsemen. Here I invert those four concepts and see what manifests. Embracing the emptiness, the process of letting go of ourselves, the fine art of narrowing down our point of focus so we can concentrate on the spiritual facet of existence. Self-love. What is it that we seek? Freedom through our empty minds. What significance are the phantoms of our past now? There are very few accurate recordings of memories, so what do we have to lose by letting them go? Energy vampires and attachments. Kicking the dog syndrome. Vampiric energy forms that drain our life force. Energy vampires. True or false? How to kill, erase, eradicate negative thought forms. The psychology of mind. The power of understanding how our minds work. Clearing the ground upon which to build our mansion. The very narrow path. Heaven's gate. The fall of man in the Garden of Eden. The creation of Homo sapiens. The current manipulated version of the Bible. A highly contentious and malevolent compilation of lies and contrivances designed to imprison the human mind and spirit. The Garden of Eden allegory. What was Moses on drugs when he saw his legendary burning bush? The biblical tabernacles were for secret entheogen use by the elite priests. My very own fantastical experience while smoking cannabis. What can we make of all these individuated conscious experiences? How others have explained the supernatural connection over the years. The Tao Te Ching was reputedly written by Lao Tzu some 2,500 years ago. The Tao Te Ching explained the way, the virtue, the sage, and all those things. The inexpressible mind of God. We are all being dreamed in the mind of God. Or should I say we are all dreaming ourselves into a fictitious reality. Two and a half pages to go. Well, I head more and more towards the answers, people. And at the end, I convey what it is that I've accumulated in my life, what all of my experience and acquisition of knowledge means to me in my present conscious state. I put a lot of rational explanations forward. I tell a lot of personal experience, and I delve deeply into the exoteric, the occult, the hidden, the less renowned, the secret. How Mother Nature, Spirit, Cosmic Consciousness communicates with us. Do you want to know how that happens? Waking up to our cosmic womb. Waking up to our cosmic womb, ladies and gentlemen. Spiritually awakening seems to be the cosmic endgame to human beings. The God particle for dummies. Jewish Kabbalah. Union with God. The portal into the mind of God, heaven, nirvana, bliss. The Book of Thomas. Jesus' sayings which are not included in the Bible. Jesus in the Gospel of Thomas. Socrates, know thyself. Kabbalah, holy sparks, entering the bliss, nirvana, in the natural world with our eyes open. Scattered sparks. Our subjective interpretation is the only one we can truly ever know. A sense of connection and oneness. Holy Kabbalistic sparks. Egoic dissociation, spiritual association. What are the altered states of consciousness? When our ego momentarily disappears, the illusion of being human as opposed to the reality of being God. An ongoing, thorough scientific and philosophical investigation into what the world needs. The device, the comparison, experiences, anecdotal reports, the field of perception becoming murky by the day. Is there a ghost writer authoring this book? The invisible glue that holds energy fields together. Eureka! I think I have found a part of the answer. Morphic resonance and egregoric energy fields. Egregores and morphic resonance. The Theosophical viewpoint. Rosicrucian perspective. World War II examples of egregores. Adolf Hitler. Hitler's hypnotic effect on the crowd. Hitler was a mesmerizing speaker. Egregore in everyday experience. Exposing the egregore. Positive and negative egregores. Morphic resonance. All is one. The paradoxical cosmos. Jung's collective unconscious. Archetypes. Instincts. Edgar Cayce explains the Akashic Records. From egregores to morphic resonance, from the collective unconscious to the Akashic Records. Who am I? A shard of cosmic consciousness, observing itself. How the collective unconscious and archetypes play critical subliminal roles in our lives. The collective unconscious and archetypes explained. Jung's model of the psyche. Personal unconscious, collective unconscious, Jungian archetypes, the persona, the anima, the animus, the shadow, the self, psychological types, individuation, theory of the libido, Freud versus Jung, the unconscious mind, human motivation, psychosexual stages, dream analysis, religion and spirituality, bringing varying fields of study together for analysis. Amalgamating out-of-body experiences with archetypes. How can we know for ourselves that the Akasha records exist? Arousing senses. Activity. A list of 53 senses. Most people think we've got 5 senses. Well, I list 53. And there's a whole lot more. Radiation sensitivities. Putting the pieces of the puzzle together. From Freud and the brain to Sheldrake and the morphogenetic fields. Is the cosmos a simulation? Reasons for the simulation theory to be the most viable option to wear the cosmic creation crown. My reasoning on the likelihood that we are in a simulation. It's simply too complex to comprehend. We are in a simulation. That's why we cannot find physical matter. Okay, half a page left. And then you can all go back to sleep. I will first eliminate one of the most obvious runners-up from the competition, Darwin's theory of evolution. Next up for the dethroning, the Christian and Islamic God. The satisfaction of finally separating the wheat from the chaff. Ancient astronauts theory. This article is about the idea that aliens visited ancient humans. Anything is possible in a simulation. Who is the real God? The omniscient God of religious scripture or the creator of the simulation? Criticisms of the Big Bang theory. My thoughts on the Big Bang. The Big One. Key takeaways. The psychology behind the Mandela effect. Parallel universes or glitches in the matrix. The devil is in the details. As time goes by, the familiarity, heuristic. Conclusion, the battle of the wits, closer to God. The illusion of having our own minds, a glimpse beyond. Brahman, what is Brahman? Etymology and early formulations of Brahman, the Vedas, the Upanishads. We are souls being written upon by the pervasive cosmic intelligence. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the content of my first book. So there's 26 chapters and 3, 6, 9, 11, 12, 18, about 35, 350 subchapters. 350 subchapters. What the fuck? What the fuck's this guy on? Told you. Wasn't me. Anyway, guys and gals, so there you have it. The book is in the final throes now of being offered up to Amazon.com for KDP publishing. It's going to be published in paperback and Kindle because this company wanted another £200 to publish it in hardback. And of course the hardback is going to be even more expensive, which is going to reduce the sales probably. But the paperback will be a nice, you know, proper, this is what they call paperback these days. You know, it's a decent cover, but it's not rigid. I can't stand rigid books, because when you read a book, by the way, this is The Presence of the Past, Rupert Sheldrake, on morphic resonance and the habits of nature. A superb book. And I already wrote about my hypothesis on morphic resonance and what it means to me in the world and evolution, all those sort of things, before reading this book. I'm this far through the book now, and it's going to be interesting to see if I glean anything that I didn't intuitively already know, you know. That's the thing, when you are an awakened, enlightened being, you know everything in any case. And so by the time I've read this, it's going to be interesting to see if I can honestly say that I've learnt anything from it, because so far it's just telling me what I already intuitively knew this thing to be. And so that tells me that I've already travelled these journeys a myriad times before. How many of you guys have read a book and said to yourself, well, intuitively I knew that? And then you read something which is, you know, scientifically pioneering, and you go, well, I kind of knew that anyway. Yeah, because our higher consciousness, people, is our intuition. And our intuition comes from the collective human consciousness, which comes from the Akashic records. It's the field of consciousness which pervades the earth and has pervaded the earth for as long as the earth, the cosmos, has been in existence. The cosmos is conscious, And so it has information within it. And this is why people like Einstein and Beethoven and Kepler and you know, all these geniuses, all these you know, Isaac Newtons and Einsteins and all these people, they tap into this thing because it's already there. And some of us can tap into this stuff more than others. Some of us have very special abilities of, you know, psychic communication and premonitions and prophecy and all these sort of things. So anyway, I'm going to take my sweater off now again and get back to the bliss. You see, look, the odd car in the background, but mostly the birds all around. With my feet in the moist, cool grass in a churchyard where nobody is liable to come. And you see, in places like this, there's a certain variety of energy. Of course, first and foremost, these buildings are built on ancient ley lines. For those of you that know what the Earth's energy lines are, these places are built on those. So they're built on very powerful energy lines. And then they have an overlay of religion on top of it. And they're very solemn places where people will just come to listen. Nobody comes into these places to pass their opinions, people. They come to listen. They come to absorb. And what they've been absorbing here forever is the Christian faith. And so this energy here is pretty free, uncontaminated by many other energies. It's got its overlay of the Christian deity, of course, but there's a certain truth to some of that. And I'm in allegiance with some of the stuff from the New Testament. So I don't have a problem with this. It's not like I'm in the grounds of a mosque. That wouldn't fit well with me at all. I couldn't be there. It'd just be alien to me. But at least this is premised in my cultural development, my unconscious. So it sits well with me. Anyway, I'm sure you've got better things to do.